Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is TweaK here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a few little tips on how to figure out a better sensitivity for yourself in Tarkov, as well as one other thing that some people might overlook that will definitely help improve your aim. So the first thing we're going to do here is I'm just going to go to my desktop. You're going to type in mouse in here. You want to bring up this menu. You want to go to additional mouse options. And now what you want to do is click on pointer options. You want to make sure that enhance pointer precision is turned off. Okay, this needs to be turned off. If this is turned on, it is probably a very good reason as to why you're missing a lot of your shots. So make sure that this is turned off. So that's about it for settings on the old desktop. So I'm going to load into Tarkov now, and I'll give you guys a look at what we're going to do next. All right, so here we are in our inventory. What you're going to want to do for this part is just grab a standard loadout, a loadout that you would normally run, and bring yourself your favorite optic, your favorite long-range optic that you use more often than any other one. And then for your gun, you just want to put like a PK06 on it. So once you have all that together, make sure you bring your armor, bring a helmet, bring your tac sports, your rig, the usual amounts of mags and ammo, and all that other kind of stuff that you normally bring with you. Make it like your most common loadout, the most common loadout you use all the time, and bring that. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to here, go to customs, go into an offline raid, and then once we load in here, I'll show you guys where to go, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. All right, and here we are in customs. So what you're going to want to do is find yourself a nice concrete wall. Maybe not these ones. Let's go this way. So you want to find yourself a regular concrete wall. Probably, yeah, this will do, I think. Maybe a little bit more of an open area. Let's see. Oh, down here should be perfect, actually. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find a wall that is relatively, out in the open. You've got some space to maneuver around it. And then what you want to do is come up to the wall. Oops. And you want to make a little circle. You're just going to get your gun. And just make a little circle like that. Now, the way a lot of people do this is they will actually increase their sensitivity. So what you're supposed to do is you go to your controls, and down here you can see mouse sensitivity, you can see your ADS sensitivity. And what a lot of people will do is they will take their mouse, put it on one side of their mouse pad, and move it all the way to the other. Now, in theory, you're supposed to be able to do one full 360 movement across your mouse pad. Now, that's a pretty general statement because for me, I like playing on a much lower sensitivity, so that doesn't really apply to me. If you want to do it that way, you can increase your mouse sensitivity to where from the left side of your mouse pad to the right side is a full 360. And then what you do from there is you half that sensitivity, you try that one out and see how you feel about that. Now, you've got to do this for like 3 or 4 minutes at a time. You need to give it a good chance. So you half that mouse sensitivity, so 2.5 will become 1.25. And then you take 1.25 and you add it to the 2.5. And that leaves you with, what, 3.75. So you try all three of those sensitivities, just out of pure example. 2.5, 1.25, and then 3.75. And you try all those sensitivities. Whichever one feels more comfortable to you, you say it's the 1.25. You pick that one, you half it again, and then you add whatever the halved value is to the original sensitivity, if you're following me, right? And then you try those three sensitivities out. Once you find out which one of those is more comfortable for you, you half it again, and you just keep going like that. That's one way you can do it. It's a much more precise way you can do it. It's obviously a lot more time consuming. But for me, what I did was I basically set my sensitivity to what I normally play at. And then what you want to do is take your crosshair and you want to place it in the center of that. So the idea here is you want to move left to right. And you want to keep your crosshair or your dot in the center of that circle as best you can. So this is going to feel a little bit uncomfortable for you at first because it's probably not something that you're used to doing. But this is basically all you want to do every time you're testing out a new sensitivity. And once you find a sensitivity that feels more comfortable for you, what you want to do is just keep doing this over and over and over again until you find a sensitivity to where you can track the center of that circle, no problem. consistently almost every single time, and it feels right to you. It has to feel right as well. If you can do it, but it feels uncomfortable or it doesn't feel right, then it's not the sensitivity you should be using. It has to feel absolutely right to you. So once you do this, I recommend doing this for at least 3 or 4 minutes per sensitivity to really give yourself a chance of trying it out. You can also just track it with the laser as well if you want to try that. It's up to you, but I usually just like bringing in the PK06 because if you're going to use an optic, you want to use one that doesn't have any sway. So the PK06 has very little reticle sway. So you just want to keep doing this over and over and over again and keep repeating those steps that I said earlier until you get the results that you want, basically. So what you can do is you can just increase your sensitivity just by small little increments here and there. Test it out. Maybe increase it by 0.1 every time or minus it by 0.1. Try it. If it feels too slow, increase it. If it feels too fast, bring it down like 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 every time. Until you get to that sweet spot. Now, one thing about this method is this was intended for like CSGO players. And the one thing about Tarkov is Tarkov commits like the main cardinal sin of like any FPS game that's ever been made. And that cardinal sin is that your loadout and how much gear you're carrying with you basically changes your sensitivity. So if I were to drop all my gear now, I can all of a sudden look around and move faster. Whereas when I pick all this stuff up again, where'd my armor go? I think my armor just yeeted off into oblivion, did it? Okay, well, my armor's gone, so... Well, that's fine. But you guys get the point. You know when you... I can't believe my armor just disappeared. But you guys know what I mean. When you pick up more gear or you're wearing less gear, your sensitivity does change. Now, that is why, for me, I always run the ULAC. I always run the killer armor. I always run... Well, I don't always run the same gun, but like... You know, I always wear the same, like, core things. I always wear the Triton rig. I always wear the ULAC, the thingy, you know, the Attack 2 backpack, the TAC Sports. That's how you keep, like, your sensitivities, like, consistent. You know, everything won't feel, like, super out of whack if you go into a raid with a really... You know, different loadout, like different armor types and stuff like that. Because people always ask me, why do you always wear kill armor and a ULAC? It's because I'm so used to that sensitivity. And how encumbered my character feels when I'm using that gear set. You know what I mean? So now, one other thing. If you're doing this, you want to do it with your scope as well. It can be a little bit more awkward with the scope because of the sway. But you want to just do the exact same thing with a scope. And then... all you want to do then is just change your scope sensitivity or your ADS sensitivity as much as possible. While you're testing this, you know, find out which one is right for you, which one feels good. But yeah, as I said earlier, it's more about finding the sensitivity that feels absolutely correct for you. For me, I keep my ADS sensitivity and my regular mouse sensitivity pretty much as close to each other as possible. Your ADS sensitivity is arguably a little bit more important, and you should probably have that a little bit lower, because when you're point firing close, you might want to be able to flick like a little bit faster. Both of my sensitivities are more or less identical. My mouse sensitivity is at 0.36, my ADS sensitivity is at 0.33. So just remember that when you ADS, your sensitivity does change, and when you're walking around like this is why you should use the laser to track for your regular sensitivity. So just remember that, you know, you do want to change your ADS sensitivity as well as your standard sensitivity, because, you know, when you ADS, it's going to be different. So yeah, that is basically the best way that you can find the mouse sensitivity that's right for you. I see a lot of people in a lot of clips sometimes that, Jesus Christ, like, they're trying to shoot a guy that's here and then they flick and they go like this. You know, it's like, what? If you're playing with your sensitivity to the point where, like, you're trying to make, like, tiny little adjustments, or you're trying to, like, track somebody, or, like, there's somebody running out of here, and I'm tracking him. I can do that pretty comfortably from this distance, like, no problem. But, like, on a higher sensitivity, like, you're tracking, it's just, you know, it's... If it's super high, it's going to be really hard to track. It's going to be really hard to hit shots at a distance. Yes, you might be able to flick on people closer and stuff like that. But I feel like in Tarkov, like, you want to be better for tracking. Tracking is something that you're going to do probably more than anything else in Tarkov. When you're engaging at like a semi-decent distance, you just want to track the head, pop. Just one shot, you know? It's different if you're getting into a CQB fight in like dorms or labs or something like that, but you definitely want to get your sensitivity to a point where you can relatively easily track a PMC that's just sprinting. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, share it with your buddies. Make sure to hit the old subscribe button. It does help out myself and show a massive amount. We're almost at 60,000 subscribers. And yeah, I think when this video goes live, I'll be live on Twitch. So if you guys want to come out, check out the stream where I do all kinds of stuff like this live, go to twitch.tv/tweak. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, my dudes.